Hey, everybody, it's me, Dave Schrader from the Paranormal 60, Ghosts of Devil's Perch, and the Holzer Files. And for some reason, you're tuned in to the Paranomaly Zone.
A ghostly apparition in the dark at night.
Hey, Mike, do you believe in the power of words?
Words.
Word.
Yeah. Especially certain words. Yeah, absolutely. Got a lot of power.
100%.
Negatively or positively.
Exactly. Agreed.
Sorry,
I wanted to provide an example of the power of words when it comes to well, let's see, maybe hyping up a potential cryptid, right?
Yep.
Hyping up a horror of some sorts, for expounding on and expanding the legend of a particular phantom or a particular poltergeist or something like that. The power of wording is quite immense, and I was going to, as I said, share a few examples. If you may indulge me and allow me to do that, is that okay?
Well, do I have a choice? No, go ahead.
No, not really. No, not really. We do have a topic at hand. Do not worry. Do not fret, boys and girls out there in Paranormally Zone listener land. It seems like it's been a long time since we've returned with a topical subject. We just had a blast talking with the She Squatchers for a second time.
And they have to come back on again. And they said they would.
Absolutely. And then off air, they told us a wee bit of info that it has encouraged us to partake in our own Bigfoot adventure of sorts. We're going to keep it kind of on the down low for now, but the plans...
Exactly how they said, yes.
Yes, the plans, they are in the making, and we're pretty excited about that. So
we know where, we know how to get there, we know, we know how to do it.
Right? Exactly, which may sound kind of ridiculous, but believe it or not, it's true.
Yes.
Well, Mike, very briefly here before we dive into the topic at hand, which is, by the way, skeleton monsters. That's right, you heard me correctly, boys and girls.
And I'm sure we have some people going, what?
Right.
No, just trust us, though. Just trust us on this one.
It's creepy.
Yeah, because usually, if you see a skeleton coming at you, what are you going to do? Kick its legs out from underneath it.
Well, sure, anything.
Just punch him in the head. What's he going to do?
Whatever you can do to make it crumble.
Yes.
Exactly. But we're going to dive into that. It is a pretty creepy topic. We have some examples, some legendary tales based on folklore. We want to throw that out here. But again, how many times have we said that, Mike? That legends and folklores how often are they based on actual encounters?
Probably more often than what people think.
Right.
You got to start somewhere, whether it's in somebody's imagination or somebody saw something, somebody experienced something.
Yes. So I don't want to frighten anyone away. Yeah, poor choice of words there. I don't want anyone to tune out right now and say, "Oh, they're talking about folklore." No. I don't want you to think we're talking about folklore.
No.
These are all quote unquote creatures. I guess they could all fall into the cryptid realm that have been allegedly encountered throughout the centuries, and we're looking forward to talking about that. But Mike, here we go. The power of the words, right? Power of words.
Okay.
You've heard of The Beast of Bray Road, right?
Yes.
Chest, yes? Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay. I thought you said chest, yes, for some reason. So.
I think I said yes, but the first yes didn't come out very well.
Gotcha. I mean, without wasting any more time, I'm sure our listeners are familiar with the legend of the Beast of Bray Road.
And familiar with us wasting our time.
But yeah, absolutely, 100%. And there's a second time I've said 100% already. I'm trying to cut down on my repetitive phrasing, but it's going to be a challenge.
I keep giving you opportunities to say
yes,
it.
You do. Yes, you do.
100% I do.
No.
Anyway, go ahead. Dingus.
Oh, let's see. Yes, hey, you finally noticed my name. Dingus. So there you go. The Beast of Bray Road, Mike. It makes, the average scroller of, I don't know, podcast imagery or the scroller of library books. They're looking through all the titles in the world and they see, the Beast of Bray Road. Now that kind of seems interesting. It's a little intriguing, perhaps a little creepy. The power of words, though, Mike. Just change up one word.
Yeah. Bray Road.
And I'm not sure it'll have quite the same effect.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I did my due diligence. I did a lot of research on this.
Okay.
I found a lot of synonyms. Synonyms.
And by the way, to all the pronounce.
And by the way, to all the audiophiles out there, I am aware that my mic makes me pop my P's, and you hear my breath every now and then, and it drives me nuts. And I apologize. It's in the works of getting a different headset. Anyways, I'm going to throw that out there.
Let me tell you, listeners, hearing his breath is fine. You don't want to smell it. See, there he goes. I'm glad we are like hours away from each other when you just did that breath out there.
It's okay because
I got a feeling for you.
That's right.
So,
okay.
I care.
Yes, I do.
All right. Enough levity. I want to get into this. This is going to be.
I do. Yes. And unless I'm going deaf, Mike, can you push your mic maybe a little closer to your beautiful mouth?
You got a pretty mouth.
You sure got a pretty mouth. Okay, Mike, instead of the Beast of Bray Road, some of them that are pretty similar and just as effective. Obviously, the Monster of Bray Road. I mean, that's fine, right?
Right.
The Savage of Bray Road.
Mm-hmm.
Even the Creature of Bray Road.
Very good.
The Fiend of Bray Road. Now we're going to go off the rails a little bit. These are all synonyms.
Yeah.
In one way or another to the word beast.
I noticed that you did not say like the bunny of Bray Road or anything.
Well, right, exactly. That's a very specific creature.
Yeah.
Tell me if any of these pop out to you, Mike, as a good selling point for monster stories, okay?
Okay.
Instead of the Beast of Bray Road, we have the Varmint of Bray Road.
Well, that could be taken many different ways. Is it a varmint of great stature and size? And
well, we don't have to go on and on about it.
Okay, don't have to dig too deep into it.
The critter of Bray Road.
Okay. Getting along to the bunny of Bray Road, basically, is what the critter would be.
Being of Bray Road.
Mm-hmm.
That's vague. That's actually kind of creepy if you think about it.
Yeah,
being.
Because you could think of some kind of a deformed humanoid or something like that. Yeah.
The degenerate of Bray Road.
Well, then you start thinking about escaped something or others.
Yes. I mean, stick with me here. This one might work. The swine of Bray Road.
Well, then you're driving down the road and you see a bunch of pigs crossing the road.
None of these seem to be resonating with you that much.
No,
but
the swine, no.
The quadruped of Bray Road.
Somebody that walks on all fours.
Well, that's what but these are. I'm saying this is all. I'm doing this for a reason. The power of words. Would you rather tune into a podcast about the Beast of Bray Road, or would you rather turn into the podcast about the quadruped of Bray Road? This one's even more generic. The mammal of Bray Road.
Very generic. That could mean you and I standing
Yes.
there on the road.
Well, so could this one. The vertebrates of Bray Road.
The vertebrate. Now
The
you're getting
vertebrate.
into a freaking comic book there.
Hey.
Because you're driving along and you see like a spine laying on the
Well, that's true. That could be kind of morbid. Yeah.
Well, I start finding the rest of the body along the way. Yeah.
The Yahoo of Bray Road. That sounds like a Monty Python type sketch, you know. The Yahoo of Bray Road.
Or some kind of a bronco buck riding along the side of Bray Road. The
Rapscallion of Bray Road. No, not so much. Okay, you'll like this one, Mike. The dumb animal of Bray Road.
The dumb animal. I think every road's got a dumb animal along it somewhere, but I'm helping you nothing on this.
Just a few more. Just a few more. I was hoping to get a little more laughter out of you, but that's okay. I understand. The wretch of Bray Road. That one's not too bad, actually.
The wretch, or it could be like some person that is vomiting on the side of the road. They're retching.
The retcher of Bray Road.
You hear it coming before you hit that bend in the road.
Oh my God! It's the wretch of Bray Road. How about this?
Anyway,
how about this one, Mike? The miscreant of Bray Road. Yeah.
Now that's touching a little bit better there. Yeah.
A little bit. This one's kind of along the lines of Rapscallion, the scallywag of Bray Road. Beastie? Yeah, Beastie's a version of Beast, I guess. Well, Mike, last but not least, the reprobate of Bray Road.
My dad used to use that word. Reprobate.
Anyways, that was my example. I bombed horribly here, but I just want to show you the power of words. You have to be careful about how you word things.
You made the exact point that you set out to do.
I did, and I wasted a mere, 8 minutes or so? I think that's good. Not even. About 5 minutes.
Well, it's an 8-hour show, so 8 minutes means nothing.
It is an 8-hour show. No, it is not. Don't frighten our 4 listeners, my goodness.
Or your co-host. No.
Well, let's see here. Well, Mike, I suppose we can dive right into the meat of the topic at hand, right?
Right.
As we mentioned earlier, legends, folklore, oftentimes based upon, or at least influenced by actual encounters, perhaps even, dare I say, facts.
Right.
And yes, they can be, and often are, elaborated throughout the years.
But there are people that may have encountered something that come across as, well, that's just storytelling, but to them, it is complete facts because they may have actually encountered exactly what they're talking about.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
You got to think of it both ways. If you have any belief in any kind of a paranormal existence whatsoever, it's possible.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. We, as longtime listeners know, the paranormal is our absolute favorite topic. And we've covered stories, at least, discuss them on our own time at the very minimum about skeletal specters even, we're not even talking about physical beings. We're talking about the phantom entities taking shape, taking the visual of a skeleton. Terrifying. I don't ever want to see something like that.
I have great pictures of it in my mind that I would love to do some AI for.
I am sure you do. Yes, I need your AI for this episode imagery, Mike.
I can see it.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. Well, we have some examples here, Mike. Let's see, about 3 or 4. We're going to go with, we talked about this quite a bit. The Wendigo is one that I was thinking about talking about, but we've covered it several times, so we don't need to dive into the Wendigo. But definitely a very skeletal appearance.
When I was doing some research, that did actually come up a couple of times in my searching and picturing that, you have the skull with the antlers and it's like a deer skull even has a head and the bony. Yeah. So that is But like you said, we have covered that.
Yes.
Great story, though.
And I was corrected by somebody online. Our imagery when we did the Bigfoot versus Wendigo episode many moons ago, and we created some AI imagery. I did and stuff, and I was corrected as to how incorrect my imagery of the Wendigo was. So I was
Really?
appreciative. Yeah, I was appreciative of that. So
Yeah,
anyways,
we are wrong more often than correct. So any help we can get.
Well, Mike, did you know of the story of the Ankou? The Ankou, the Ankou. It's a legend in
familiar.
It's a legend in Celtic folklore. Now, before the Grim Reaper, there was the Ankou, and if it's Ankou, I'm sorry. You can correct me later on. The Celtic legend is most prolific in the region of Brittany. It's Cornish origins, where the story goes, if you keep your eyes peeled, Mike, you can still spot an Ankou haunting many of the churches and cathedrals to this very day, according to legend.
So it's basically a very specific location type of a beast.
Right, exactly. Okay. Breton, I believe, Breton, Breton, in Cornwall. You're Cornish, aren't you? No, you're Norwegian.
Well, I have the Norwegian, but I also have the great English on.
Oh yeah,
the wonderful depth of English that I am. I enjoy stories like this. So go ahead.
What type of food? What type of food would be corn-ish? Like you look at
I think
corn on the cob, and then there's something else that's kind of cornish.
Well, they have these very small hen-like bird fowl. The Cornish game hen.
Wow, listen to you pulling stuff out of your rear.
They look just like a chicken, but they're like the size of a softball, maybe.
Damn.
If even that sometimes. Boy, are they good.
Oh, you've had them?
Oh, I have, yes, a few times.
The Ankou, Mike, is a defiant remnant of pagan influence surviving as a stowaway in the stonework of Christian buildings. Now, it is said that that every graveyard in Brittany has its very own Ankou. The Ankou is the very last soul to die in the village before the stroke of midnight of each and every year. That's really intriguing. I like that.
So yearly there is an Ankou that is added?
Yes, exactly.
Oh my gosh.
So how far back does that go? My goodness.
Yeah. Well, but then if they're a very specific, a location specific, I mean, how does that happen?
Well, I'll tell you. You want to know why?
Yeah, there's an answer, I'm sure.
This Ankou, the last soul to die in the village before the stroke of the new year, is doomed to stay another year longer upon this earth as guardian of that very graveyard until the next year when another soul takes its place.
Okay, so it's only one at a time.
Oh man, that's definitely guardian. Sounds. Yeah, but still, I mean, we've spoken how many times about how time does not exist in other dimensions, right? The paranormal world, time is not a factor. So maybe it seems like a split second, a blink of an eye for every Ankou, right?
Oh, sure. They're in there and out of there before they even have to worry about anything. Too quick.
But if you're walking around the graveyards in Brittany, Cornwall, or in Wales, some of the descriptions of an Ankou, something for you to keep an eye out, Mike, or any tall men, keep an eye out for those tall guys. However, these tall men dress in black, have white hair under a wide-brimmed black hat, thin and or skeletal in nature. This is a dead giveaway. Holding a scythe.
Oh, sure.
Sorry. I just said scythe. Oh my gosh, someone slapped me. Holding a scythe.
A sickle.
They might in fact be dragging a wheelbarrow or riding in a horse-drawn cart. And this must be very important. that horse-drawn cart has squeaky wheels.
Well, of course. You'll hear them yelling from a distance as they're riding out. It's just for effect.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Just add the extra creaky wheel. It's more creepy.
Yeah.
Now,
Less oil on the other one.
A little less oil on that one. Now, this is another important fact, Mike. This coach may be pulled by two horses, but one of those horses is fat and the other one is emaciated. So a skinny horse and a fat horse are pulling this Anko around town.
I wonder if that is like a symbolism of the living and the dead.
You are very correct in that, Mike. It is all symbolic in nature.
Really?
See, you're on top of your game tonight, my friend.
I pulled out of my tight little butthole.
Now it also says it also says if you are to hear the sound of a shrieking owl just before spotting him, you have to get away from there, as that is an ominous foreboding of an Anko.
I've encountered that while camping.
Did you really? You came across an Anko?
Well, it was a screeching owl.
Oh, yeah, those are kind of terrifying anyways in their own self. Not
far from where you live, actually. It's quite interesting.
Really?
Yeah, beautiful camping areas out there.
But, for better or for worse, Mike, that's kind of the gist of the creepy old Anko. Again, Ankou, the most terrifying figure in Celtic folklore.
One of so many in Celtic legend and folklore, and possibly
right. And as it briefly mentioned too, very reminiscent of the Grim Reaper, in my opinion.
Right, exactly.
Not breaking any new ground there by stating that, but I think that's safe to say. Yeah, I don't think I want to run into an Anko with either a scythe or a scythe. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm ashamed of myself sometimes. Well, Mike, moving on. You seem utterly thrilled right now.
I am.
Okay, good.
I'm trying to find the right. I'm listening to you, but I'm also trying to find the right placement for my. I have named.
Oh my God, that creepy apple thing.
Yeah, I have named her actually, and she comes out of her acrylic box every episode and hangs around, and I call her Apple Betty.
Apple Betty.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Almost like an apple tart that you can eat, but this one might be a little tough.
Tart. Yeah. It's just one of those words that's just kind of, I don't know. Tart. Anyways, no offense to the person who invented the word tart.
Well, a tart is a wonderful piece of pastry.
Yeah. Well, good for it.
and wonderful when it's filled with a rhubarb compote.
Ooh.
or something to the effect.
Mike, are you familiar with? Have you ever heard of the? Oh my gosh, I'm going to butcher these pronunciations too, because this gave me a new one. I am actually going to refer to it as the Pauguk. The Pauguk, but it's Pauguk, but it's also referred to as the Baykok, Baykok.
Okay.
Is that okay that I say Baykok? Okay.
I'm just trying to think of what nationality this legend might come from.
These are Ojibwe. These are in Ojibwe language.
Yeah, I was going to say they sounded native. I should have said that.
Yeah,
before,
absolutely.
Yeah.
The Pauguk is an alleged malevolent spirit. I have a brief, again, alleged encounter here. I'm utilizing my American Monsters book. Actually, there is a very brief encounter. I shouldn't say actually, because I am repeating what I just said in the intro. And this is actually, there's actually, again, my goodness, this is referring to skeleton monsters. These had been described as monster-esque skeleton in nature. The Old Testament chapter of Ezekiel, Mike, named for a Jewish priest whose prophecies date back to the 6th century BCE, contains an account of dry bones, dry human bones, reassembling themselves in the desert to then rise again. But while Ezekiel's valley of bones ultimately received flesh and breath to become a vast living army, Native American lore is rife with stories of skeletal monsters that also manage to clack around. Yes, that's the words of the author here, to clack around. And one of the best known is the aforementioned Paguk.
It's another thing that you can get rid of a whole army of them with just one good fire hose.
Maybe. You could be right. Now, a lot of this legend is familiar in popular culture due to the, it's the long-form poem Myth of Hiawatha by one Henry Schoolcraft, written back in 1856. That's where a lot of the legend is brought forth, as I already said, to pop culture. However, it is also pointed out that Paguk is a hunter, but rather than hunting animals, Paguk hunts people.
Well, it wouldn't be a good story if it didn't. I'm going to go get my crickets this morning.
That's very true.
Got to pull over the right rotten log, and boy, you're set.
That is so true. That would be a really boring, lame story if, the Paguk was a cricket hunter.
Yeah, that's somebody that you can go have some hot chocolate with someday in their
maybe
lean-to or something, and just have a good conversation. Bring him a bag of crickets from the pet store. He'll be happy.
He'd be happy. Satiate the Paguk.
Satiate. I hate that word.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm glad I used it.
Satiated.
Okay, I'm going to back up a little bit, and I'm going to share a portion of the Myth of Hiawatha by one Henry Schoolcraft here, okay? Yes. So this was written back in 1856, and it goes as such. Death, where the mythos of the condition of the human frame, deprived of even the semblance of blood and muscle and life, is represented by the word Paguk. Paguk is a horrible phantom of human bones, without muscular tissue or voice, the appearance of which presages speedy dissolution. Of all the myths of the Indians, this is the most gloomy and fearful. To see Paguk is indicative of death. Some accounts represent him as covered with a thin, transparent skin, with the sockets of his eyes filled with balls of fire. Terrifying. I don't like that.
And how did you pronounce the name of that? Or how did you spell it, I should say?
Pauguk.
Okay, yeah.
And as I said, Paguk is also a hunter, but he hunts people rather than animals. Paguk is totally silent and cannot shift into other forms, unlike another entity we're going to dive into briefly here, an alleged shapeshifter. The Paguk is not a shapeshifter. It was in fact alleged that the North American hero Mano Bazo is the only warrior able to defeat the phantom skeleton. There is an interesting example here that I'm going to share with you. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Now a similar creature, the Pakak. I hope I'm pronouncing that one right. The Pakak of the Plains and Woodland Cree is not a unique entity in its own right like Paguk, but comes into being from a person who died of starvation. This being announces his presence with a chilling cackle and actually may benefit people by healing the sick or aiding the hunting powers of those who treat him right by offering his favorite food, an animal bladder filled with melted fat.
Wow. I would do anything for that.
Really? An animal bladder filled with melted fat?
Hey, if he's easy to please, what the heck?
Now, one George Nelson shared some journals back in the day, Mike. One of his journals related the story about the skeleton monster that he had heard from a Cree acquaintance of his as far back as the early 1800s. His acquaintance told George Nelson that he and his friend were camping outdoors one night after a successful day spent hunting beavers. All right, keep the dirty jokes to yourselves.
Didn't even enter my mind.
I know. I'm sorry for even bringing it up. When he awoke to see what he described as an elderly man sitting by the campfire in a pose that told the hunter this visitor was displeased. Ooh, Mike knocked over his Howdy Doody bobblehead. Is that Howdy Doody?
That's Bob's big boy.
Oh, Bob. Okay. Okay, not Howdy Doody.
Yeah, standing next to my Bob Ross dancing thing.
Oh, yes, Bob's big boy next to Bob Ross.
Yeah, the Bobs. Those are the two Bobs over my right shoulder by the lava lamp.
So that's already kind of creepy when you think about it. You wake up after a night of hunting and when you wake up, you see an elderly man just sitting by your campfire looking like he's pissed off. And it's like, whoa.
So, is there any indication that people ever have of why he's upset? I mean...
Well, we shall perhaps dive into that.
Yeah.
George Nelson's journal goes on to say, he, the person at the campfire, had butt skin and bone. And not butt skin, I mean like butt skin.
Thank you for saying that, because I was going to go all over the place with it.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to nip that in the butt.
Boy, that transplant didn't go well.
Nor not the least particle of flesh. And this one had hair on top of his head.
Hair on his head, but no flesh on his face?
No flesh. The hunter then awakened his sleeping companion, and the pair fearfully decided to offer their skeletal visitor half of one of the beavers they had just taken that day.
Well, there's nothing good about a half a beaver.
Well, sorry.
But hey,
okay.
if the no flesh hairy guy on the head likes it, then that's all that matters.
Well, right. The Pakak, however, Mike, the Pakak refused this offering until they thought of cutting it into bite-sized pieces and then throwing these bite-sized pieces into the campfire. This actually seemed to satisfy the skeletal creature, which then vanished into the night.
So it was actually making a sacrifice of their kill.
That's how I interpreted that. And so he was then appeased, I guess, or it was appeased so much that it simply vanished.
Yeah, it's like giving back some of what you've hunted and gathered for yourself. It's giving back to, maybe this is like some kind of an elemental, something of nature that.
Hey, I like that idea. I do.
That really demands, hey, what you're doing is okay, but the forest, the nature, we need our share, whether they eat it or not, or whether it's symbolically sacrificed and left there to not go with the hunters.
I like your thinking. I think you're on top of your game tonight.
Well, I had a good try before I came on, so I'm good.
Oh, you did? Oh, good.
I thought you saw it when we were preparing.
Mike, are you familiar with the Gasha Dokuro?
That I've never heard of.
Gasha Dokuro. Translation, rattling skull.
Rattling skull.
The Gasha Dokuro's habitat is anywhere, basically, but usually found near mass graves or, get this, battlegrounds. Gasha Dokuro.
I got an idea. Now, is this another native?
This is not. No, this is not.
Just mass graves in general, possibly.
Correct.
This is another reason for us to go to, we always have a reason to go back to Standing Rock, where the mass grave is.
Oh, man, no kidding.
Also, Whitestone Battlefield.
Yes.
The massive grave that's there that was so unceremoniously done by the soldiers. I just want to get back there and just walk down there where this possibly the mass burial is, and just
we
concentrate and focus. And
we
anyway,
didn't have a very successful first venture there because it was so unbelievably windy.
yeah.
And it's I agree with you, Mike. I would love to get back there and do a proper
Yeah, we have to
do a proper. Do we overuse the term investigation? I mean, do you consider that investigation?
No.
I don't know what we would call it. I mean, just
it's what it is. It's a gathering of information.
Gathering. I like that.
If we can get the information, we take it with us. So it's what we're trying to do. But I think we need to get off the hill where we spent that time, and maybe find out where the people ran for their lives and where they were massacred and cut down.
Well, we have a general idea.
Yeah.
We don't mean to go off on a tirade here, but I think that's a great thought, Mike, and we need to do that. We need to do justice as best to our ability.
Yeah, and I'm going to listen and look for rattling skulls.
Oh, hell yeah!
Get one of those on the thermal.
The Gasha Dokuro, Mike, is a creature of Japanese folklore.
Okay, that's great Japanese folklore for creatures and mythical.
Yes.
Absolutely wonderful.
Now, it is alleged that the Gasha Dokuro are skeletal giants.
Okay.
That wander around the countryside in the darkest hours of the night. It is claimed that their teeth chatter, their bones rattle. Oh, God. Why? No. Okay, you done?
I'm sorry.
Their teeth rattle. Their teeth rattle, and they shrieking howl such as this.
Ow!
Yes, there they are.
They learned from the best.
They did. But it is also said they are not always noisy. If one should happen upon a human, or if they should happen upon a human out late on the roads, Mike, the Gasha Dokuro will silently creep up, catch their victims, crushing them in their hands, or biting off their heads.
So, creatures of immense strength.
Yes, gigantic skeletal beings.
Biting off their heads?
Biting off their heads.
Oof. Crushing their bodies?
Crushing their bodies.
Hmm.
Now, the origin of the Gasha Dokuro legend is, well, I wouldn't exactly say it's clear, but it is said to come from soldiers whose bodies rot in the fields and victims of famine who die unknown in the wilderness rarely receive, and those people who rarely receive proper funerary rites.
Well,
therefore, unable to pass on, their souls are reborn as ghosts, longing eternally for that which they once had. These people have died with anger and pain in their hearts. Mike, I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say that I love this because, we've talked so many times about why do ghosts linger on? Why,
Yeah.
This is a fantastic example. It's something I've never thought of. I mean,
absolutely.
People lost in the woods. They die in the woods. They're never found. Their bones are scattered by scavengers. I mean,
they're forgotten.
And what horrible, and if their ghost or their spirit is stuck there with this feeling of they're watching their physical body, being decimated or torn apart or eaten or rotting away or whatever happened, mummifying, who knows what. Just think of what that could do to them, if a spirit has a mind or a mentality, which the intelligence of spirits that we've seen do. It's got to be horrendous. And you think of the people that go missing every year, the immense number. How many of these people are lost, never found, whether it's in the city or whether it's in the woods or anything? This is huge and could be all over the entire world. But this is
absolutely.
But this is also another native legend, was it?
No, this was Japanese folklore.
Oh, Japanese. Okay. Well, Japan's a big island.
Oh, as I said, these people are, and as we just kind of mentioned, these people are dying with pain, dying in anger, dying in sadness, dying. They're lost. They are unaccounted for. What a awful. I mean, it's one thing if you're not ready to transition, but then like no one gives a shit that you're gone, type feeling, or no one knows that you're gone.
Right. And could this, with emotions from this, the spirit or this lost soul, what if the mind or the mentality, whatever you want to call it, that is in this spirit cannot handle it and has the ability to just go mad, and crazy with all this, and just totally mad, and who knows what can happen after that? This could just open it up to many,
or
things.
Maybe perhaps even joining forces with other fellow lost souls, Mike.
Right.
I'm not saying that this is truth, but maybe that energy somehow morphs into, for lack of a better term, giant supernatural beings, right? That are walking this earth. I know it sounds crazy, but who's to say? I don't say it's real. I don't say it's not real.
Well, and also to speak of Japan, and in the woods, in the forests, and everything like that. Isn't it in Japan? And I cannot say what or where it is, but there is a huge forest that people actually go to commit suicide.
You are right. Yeah.
And the bodies are left there. I mean, people will go in there, just hiking in there, and they'll find bodies rotting, hanging from a tree.
I was going to say hanging from trees, for gosh sakes.
And whatever like that. I mean, that, have we ever done an episode on that?
We've mentioned the suicide forest before in a prior episode. I don't remember what it was, though. That might have been in the Alternate Realm podcast days. Listeners, if you remember, let us know, because I'm drawing a blank on that.
Or if you want us to dig into that, we are trying to look for stories that we can really dig into and get the facts. Well, like we used to. We used to do so much research. Of course. And our true crimes that we've got one coming soon. And,
yes, we do, for Patreon, baby.
And these are gonna be upticked to a higher level of and this is what I'm saying. This is what we've talked about. Mm-hmm. A higher level of research, and damn it, it's gonna be fabulous.
Just say it, Mike. A higher level of podcast performance. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, well, my vocabulary isn't that good, so
no. I wasn't suggesting that. I was just saying because what you're trying to suggest is that what we're doing right now is shitty. Is that what you're saying?
Hey, we're coming up. Still better all the time.
Are we? Okay. Gotcha.
Well,
yeah. Shut up. Okay. The energy of these lost souls, Mike, remains long after their flesh has rotted from their bones. I mean, we've just kind of discussed that. As their bodies decay, their anger ferments into a grudge against the living, which twists them into a supernatural force. When the bones of hundreds of victims, listen to this, when the bones of hundreds of victims gather together into one mass, they form the humongous skeletal monster known as the Gasha Dokuro. Did we not just flip and say that?
Well, the thing that's awesome about that is the combination. I mean, it's how many growing into to being one. Just think of the power and the strength that thing could have.
Yeah,
you're not going to knock that one down with a fire hose and break it.
It actually goes on to say right. It actually goes on to say that these beings are too large and powerful to be killed.
Right.
Gasha Dokuro maintain their existence until the energy and malice that is stored up in their bodies has completely burnt out.
Mm. And
however, because of the
forever.
Yeah, it could. Because of the large amount of dead bodies required to form a single Gasha Dokuro, these abominations are in fact rarer today than they were in the past, when wars and famine were a part of everyday life.
Sure.
I mean, so again, talk about the power of wording. Regardless of what you think about the folklore, the legend of Gasha de Kuro, the way that was just written, it makes you go, "Oh, that makes sense." You know,
How? Okay, now I'm sorry to do this on here, but how do you spell that? The Gasha.
GASHADOKURO.
Okay. I'm going to kind of do a cross search between that and the Suicide Forest. I bet the Suicide Forest has got to be have at
That
least a
has to
few of
have
them
some
in there.
sort of connections there for sure.
Yeah.
Mike, our last example for the evening. I know we're all having too much fun, but time is running short here. We're going to dive into the legend of Zeburnus. That's right, you heard me. Zeburnus.
This sounds either Scandinavian or Germanic in nature.
It is Lithuanian, Central, and Eastern Europe. So, hey, not too far off.
Well, kind of somewhere around there.
Now, some of the attributes of this Lithuanian legend, Mike, the physical description. The Zeburnus appears as a phosphorescent skeleton.
Now, that would freak the shit out of me.
Yeah, I think so.
Either that, or if there's any of our listeners that remember the Barnabas Collins Dark Shadows board game that I have.
You have, yes.
Yes.
you
and
have that.
you actually build a skeleton, and I believe they glow in the dark.
Oh my gosh, I think you are correct.
Yeah.
I believe you are also going to take pictures of those and share them on your Twitter page.
Well, hey, like Apple Betty, I got
Betty, you got to share them, man. I think just start sharing all sorts of cool images like that. I think that'd be a great idea.
Well, I have them.
The Zeburnus, Mike, is said to be a feared forest spirit that haunts wooded areas. Zeburnus is generally avoided due to its frightening appearance and is considered an omen of ill fortune. Encountering one Zeburnus is believed to bring bad luck or potentially even worse. Now, the Zeburnus, I believe, Mike, is also potentially a shapeshifter, because I mentioned that earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
The legend of the Zebur, and I hope I'm pronouncing that one right too. I'm probably butchering it. I'm sure it's probably like Rhinus or something, but who knows?
Can you tell me how that is spelled?
Sure. ZIBURINUS.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to, the AI work that I'm going to do for this, I want to get a really good look at what these creatures look like. And I'm going to kind of maybe, if I can, I don't know if I can, but see if I can kind of put them all into one creature, one skeletal, freaky-ass looking creature. So
I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you a number of examples, but...
Well, in the deep shadow-draped forests of Lithuania, where the whispers of ancient times still linger among the leaves, Mike, there roams a spectral entity known as Big Z. I'm not going to call him that anymore.
Big Z.
I'm just going to say Big Z.
Yeah.
This being a mysterious dweller of the woods is not of flesh and bone, as we know it, but, as mentioned earlier, a luminous apparition, a phosphorescent skeleton that glows with an eerie light, casting ghostly shadows in the moonlight. Big Z, Mike, according to lore passed down through hushed tones and wary glances, is not merely a spirit, but a harbinger of the unseen and unknown. It is said that this creature was once a guardian of the forest, a being of power and wisdom. However, through the eons, as the world of humans encroached upon Big Z's natural realm, Big Z transformed, its essence altered by the growing dissonance between nature and mankind. Again, these stories, they're parables. There's a meaning to this.
I would have loved these as nighttime stories when I was a little kid. Bedtime.
Big Z, Mike, now exists as a spectral reminder of the forgotten harmony between nature and mankind.
See, that's what I talk about, these elementals. I mean, it just, a lot of these remind me of elementals that were never living, but they were created from nature and live in nature, but have an intelligence. Yeah, I love it.
Now, despite Big Z's fearsome reputation, it is said that Big Z also possesses abilities that are more than mere harbingers of doom. It is said to have the power to commune with the natural world in ways that are beyond human understanding.
Hmm.
The rustling leaves, the whispering winds, the murmuring streams, they all speak to Big Z, sharing the secrets of the forest.
See, those are all things that I
Aren't they
love those
awesome?
sounds.
I love
I
them.
mean, when
It's
I
like a
go out into the
language. It's a
woods, yes,
language.
absolutely. When I go out in the woods, especially in Minnesota, where I love so much those woods, and you just listen. You know, you don't
Yes.
say a word. It's best if you're there by yourself and you just listen, and the things that you can hear, and you just start picking out each thing that you're listening to. It's just, it's, to me, it's a lot more than just random noises. I mean, it is living. It's, the forest is alive. I mean,
It's alive. Absolutely is.
every
I
bit of
mean,
it.
I believe it to be I believe the forest in itself is sentient. There's language, there's
Absolutely.
communication, there's a spirituality there that I think is overlooked.
Yeah. And look at how, well, you've experienced that yourself. You have actually physically hugged a tree, not
I
like,
did. I
not like,
did.
oh, I'm a tree hugger,
No,
but
absolutely not.
but you physically did, and you concentrate that on that, you can feel that energy, you can feel that living, that life. I very much believe in that. And these guardians of the forest, I mean, and how do these things come up to begin with? You know, either something is seen, or you know, people go into these woods, especially when, you know, way back when they're still not knowing what's in there, or going way back when inside the woods or deep in the woods were like how we go into the deep oceans, or up in the atmosphere. There was a time when that would have been the same thing going into woods, you know. And of
Sure.
these first people that walked into these woods eons ago and heard the different sounds in the forest that they don't usually hear, or see things that they didn't usually hear. Legends can just pop up from that, you know, like their imaginations going along with what they're actually seeing, you know. A huge effect from the beginning of time of foresting, you know, people being in the forest or exploring the forest, you know,
Exactly.
with their crude tools and not knowing, you know, they find the goodness and they find the bad. It's the way it is all over the world. I mean, it's traditional culture.
I just had a thought, Mike. I hope it makes sense. There's like a beauty almost to being, and forgive me if this sounds um, rude, but there's like a beauty in a way of almost being like ignorant. I'm not saying lack of intelligence, but um, ignorant in the sense of not being blocked.
Mm-hmm.
Not your thought patterns aren't already structured a certain way because you don't know any better, or
Right.
you're new to that experience. And like when you were talking about like those, eons ago, the first people to venture into woods, I don't, ignorant sounds too bad of a word, but I think you know what I'm trying to say there.
Right. Right.
It was
Lack of
fresh.
knowledge.
Yeah, fresh. It was new. That open mind was there. They weren't
They would. Yep.
hampered by what they have already been shown or what they think
Right.
they know.
They went in
Um,
there with their mindset like a blank of what are they going to see? What's going to
yes,
happen?
the mind is a
It,
blank
yeah.
canvas at that point.
Is it safe? Is it going to be horrible? But the bravery that they took, just like people that go into the deep oceans or into space, to find out what's there, and then look at where it's gone. It's amazing.
To this day, it is alleged that one might actually still catch a glimpse of Big Z's shimmering form out in the woods, Mike, a fleeting reminder of the ancient magic that once bridged the world of humans and the realm of the mysterious.
Mm-hmm. When we do
I,
our our Bigfoot search, we have to keep these things in mind.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
especially the native.
And I'm talking, when I went on my little rant about like a minute or so ago, and I didn't word it properly, I had me in mind half the time, because like I am bogged down by my stupid brain half the time where I'm not allowing myself to experience stuff. And I think the same thing is possibly a reality here. And I didn't mean to jump all over you, Mike, but you were talking about our Bigfoot adventures coming up, and we have to have that same open mind.
Right, exactly.
Did I throw you off track? That seemed like you were going to throw out some deep thoughts there that I just took a big crap all over. Okay.
No, what you said was important. That was enough.
No, listen to that. What you said was important. As he sits back and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I have to deal with this guy." This is the whole time I'm talking. All Mike is thinking is
enough of that.
Right. So. Apologize.
I find myself saying that throughout the day, and then I do. That's enough of that.
And I apologize for being incorrect. I must have, in doing my prep for the show, I know I read stuff about a shapeshifter, but I did not see anything here about shapeshifting in any of our examples. So it must have been one that I didn't write down. So I apologize for that one. If everyone's getting all excited about, they're going to talk about shapeshifters, and nope, not me, not tonight.
Yeah.
Mike, we got to say goodbye. This has been a hell of a fast hour, but it went pretty darn well, I think.
Yeah, it did.
Maybe?
It did. Yeah, we need to do our planning. Our this will be a simple, easy trip.
Yeah.
But it'll be intense.
Looking forward to it for sure. And man, talk about podcast material, maybe.
Maybe? What do you mean, maybe?
Patreon stuff for sure. Patreon stuff for sure. If you guys if you've made it through this entire hour, thank you so much. If you would like to support the podcast, no better way than to give our Patreon page a shot. You can sign up for as little as $1 a month. Heck, you can sign up for free. We do have some episodes available for free over on our Patreon page. And if you choose to support us monetarily, you can sign up for as little as $1 a month. No obligations. You don't like it, you can go away. As simple as that.
Go away.
I mean, like you can choose to go. You can choose to go away, is what I'm saying. I wasn't telling them to go away, but
if you want to just go away from the
talk about the power of words, boy, I just butchered that promo, but you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying.
You are always welcome on the free stuff.
And we are diving into the world of true crime for our next Patreon exclusive episode. Yes. We have over 90 available episodes right now. True crime one coming up, I think, is going to be 94.
And the research on this one is going to be intense.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm always sharing, as often as I can, I'm sharing cool audio and video stuff from our paranormal adventures that are always really fun and interesting to watch.
Yeah, I got to start binge watching some of those.
Yeah, go check it out. Like I said, I just posted that interesting clip from us up on Standing Rock, some night vision paranormal investigating, and it's kind of intriguing. It's kind of cool.
I'll find stuff that I can laugh about myself. Well, like the wood tick incident.
The wood tick incident. That's example. Up on Patreon as well.
Yes, it is.
Awesome,
Mary!
Mike.
Mary!
I know. I ain't kidding. Man, I've never seen Mike move so fast.
Yeah, well.
You know what? I never introduced ourselves tonight. My name was Patrick Coffrick. Well, it still is. And this has been the Paranormal Zone. I was joined, as always, by my co-host with the ghost, the lovely, the talented Mr. Michael Carbonneau, the paranormal poster boy himself. Mike, until next time, my friend, thanks for making this work. What do our paranormal pals need to do?
Bob's big boy says, peace out.
Bob's big boy says,
have a burger.
What? Well, okay. Bob's big boy says, peace out.
Peace out.
And ends here.
Enough of that.
Damn it, I'm butchering this.
That's okay. It's not